Are you tired of waiting for the world to catch up to your dreams? Of feeling like you're constantly chasing a future that never quite arrives, always needing proof, always needing external validation? Imagine a world where your inner certainty, your quiet knowing, is the only evidence you ever need. This isn't about blind faith. It's about reclaiming your sight, about seeing with a vision so true it bends reality to your will. To live in the unseen is the highest expression of faith. It is the hallmark of the awakened creator, one who has shifted their allegiance from the evidence of the senses to the authority of imagination. When you dwell in the unseen, you no longer rely on the physical world to confirm your truth. You confirm your truth in silence, in solitude, and in certainty. This is not blindness. This is vision. True vision, the kind that does not require proof, because it knows that what is felt within must inevitably be seen without. To dwell in the unseen is to remain faithful to what the world cannot yet perceive. It is to honor the feeling of the wish fulfilled even when every outer circumstance screams contradiction. And yet, this is where the real work of conscious creation takes place, not in reaction to life, but in quiet determination within. The unseen realm is your workshop. It is where the blueprint is drafted, the structure built, the materials formed. When you imagine vividly and persistently, you are not daydreaming, you are constructing. You are impressing the subconscious, which faithfully builds your world according to the design you hold. And so, the one who masters the unseen becomes the master of the seen. But this mastery requires composure. It requires the ability to walk through the wilderness of delay without losing faith, to encounter silence and maintain your song, to face a world that says nothing is happening, and still respond inwardly, "It is done." It is not easy, but it is simple, and it is powerful. Most abandon their vision not because it is too hard to achieve, but because they cannot tolerate the gap between imagining and seeing. But the gap is not empty. It is sacred. It is the womb of manifestation. To dwell in the unseen is to abide in that sacred space with calm expectation. Here, the outer world is not your company. Your feeling is. Your assumption is. Your inner conversation is. You are not ignoring reality, you are redefining it. You are saying to the world, "This is who I am," and letting the world rearrange itself accordingly. The unseen is not vague. It is specific. It requires precision. You must feel exactly what it feels like to be the one who already has, already is, already knows. This is not about forcing emotion. It is about cultivating familiarity, becoming so acquainted with your fulfilled state that it becomes second nature. And when it does, the outer must reflect it. This is law. In the unseen, there are no limitations. There are no delays, no barriers. The laws of man do not apply here. Only the law of assumption reigns. When you dwell in this space, you are not waiting for reality. You are guiding, not through action, but through presence, through consistency, through knowing. Let others rush. Let them strive and hustle and stress. You will remain still, and in that stillness, you will carry a power that bends the world without touching it. This is the power of those who trust the unseen. They know that all things seen were once imagined. They know that all form is preceded by a feeling. And so they give more weight to the invisible than to the visible. They speak from their fulfilled desire, even when there is no evidence. They live from the inner truth, even when the outer seems unchanged. They do not flinch. They do not waver. They dwell. To dwell means to live there, not visit, not entertain the idea briefly, but to remain, to inhabit the state until it becomes your home. You will know you are dwelling when the feeling of the wish fulfilled becomes more familiar than the feeling of longing, when imagining the end becomes your default. When your inner conversations reflect only the truth of what is already yours. This is not denial. This is mastery. You are not denying what exists. You are declaring what must exist, because your imagination has claimed it. And as you persist, the echo grows louder. First, as an inner certainty. Then, as subtle movement. Then, as open doors, unfolding paths. And the tangible realization of what you once held only in mind. You did not force it. You became it. But be warned, there will be tests. The old world will call to you. The mirror may still reflect the past for a while. But the test is not in the world, it is in you. Will you remain loyal to the unseen, or will you return to the comfort of the visible? You must choose. Daily, moment by moment. And with each choice, your power deepens. This is why Neville emphasized inner discipline. Not just in imagining, but in remembering. In staying faithful to the invisible seed, even when the soil shows no sprout. Do not dig it up. Do not doubt it. Do not despair. Live in it. Feel from it. Let the unseen nourish you more than the seen distracts you. This is how the new world is born. Not in noise, but in quiet. Not in striving, but in assuming. Not in visibility, but in vision. The world you see is delayed light. The real work happens first in darkness, in silence, in the solitude of the self who knows. So honor the unseen. Walk with it. Speak from it. Choose it again and again. And when the visible world catches up, you will not be surprised. You will smile, not because it is new, but because you have lived it 1,000 times already in the sacred space of your imagination. You will recognize it not as a gift, but as a reflection. You will greet it not as a miracle, but as something familiar. Because you have dwelled in the unseen, and now the unseen has become seen. And that is the power of conscious creation. That is the reward of faith. That is the life of the one who remembers. I am the cause. It is done. None. What does it truly mean to embody the wish fulfilled? Not as a passing thought, not as a hopeful whisper, but as your permanent identity. To dwell in the state of being where the desire is no longer something to be reached, but simply who you are. This is the next step on the journey. Beyond assumption, beyond imagination. This is the birth of the new self. Neville taught that we do not attract what we want. We attract what we are. And what we are is determined by the state we occupy, the concept of self we consistently inhabit. If you desire to manifest something new, you must become someone new. Not in behavior alone, but in being. This becoming is not a forced effort. It is not about pretending or performing. It is a natural consequence of living from the end. The moment you persist in the assumption of your desire fulfilled, you begin to construct a new identity around that fulfillment. And as that identity takes hold, your world reshapes itself accordingly. The question is no longer, how do I get this? But who must I be for this to be natural to me? The answer is not found in steps or strategies, but in the surrender to a new concept of self. This new self has a different tone, a different vibration, a different internal dialogue. It walks, speaks, and thinks from a higher place. And yet, it is not foreign to you. It is not an invention. It's a revelation, the truest version of who you are beneath every limiting belief you've ever accepted. To become this self is to drop the former identity, the one rooted in lack, in striving, in waiting. You must be willing to say, that is no longer who I am. Not in defiance, but in quiet confidence. The old man dies so the new man can rise. This inner rebirth is not always comfortable. The old identity will try to pull you back, not out of malice, but because it is familiar. It whispers thoughts of doubt, reactivates old patterns, and clings to familiar fears. But these are only echoes. They have no power unless you yield your attention. Your task is to remain in the new state. When the mind wanders back, gently return. When emotions flare up, remind yourself, that belongs to the former self. I no longer live there. The new self is formed through repetition, through inner conversation, through the daily discipline of imagining and feeling from the fulfilled state. It is in the choices you make, the stories you tell, the self-talk you allow. Every moment is a vote for the reality you are claiming. And what happens when you persist? The change becomes automatic. What once felt like a discipline becomes natural. What once was effort becomes expression. You no longer reach for the state. You are the state. This is why Neville emphasized the importance of mental diet. Not simply to avoid negativity, but to reinforce your new identity. Every thought is either affirming the old self or anchoring the new. Be vigilant. Be aware. But do not be afraid. You are not at war. You are simply remembering who you are. As the new self emerges, your desires no longer feel distant. They feel native, expected. The identity of the fulfilled self doesn't just accept the desire. It assumes it, owns it, lives it. This shift affects everything. How you carry yourself, how you speak, how you respond to setbacks. You begin to act with the composure of someone who knows the end is assured. You no longer chase. You track through alignment. This is not arrogance. This is spiritual authority. You are not claiming superiority. You are claiming your inheritance. You are not elevating yourself above others. You are simply standing in truth. And as you do, the world reshapes itself in your image. Not because you demanded it, but because you became it. You begin to see your life through a new lens. Circumstances no longer define you. They conform to you. Delay no longer discourages you. It affirms your power to remain unshaken. You no longer seek evidence. You provide it. Your life becomes the testimony. In this identity, prayer is different. It is not a request. It is a declaration. You are not asking. You are announcing. You are no longer a beggar at the door. You are the master of the house. Every assumption you make is creative. Every feeling you hold is formative. The self you accept is the self you express. There is no separation. You do not create from the outside in. You create from identity, from being, from the consciousness of already having. To become this self, affirm your new nature. Daily, silently, powerfully. I am the one who already has. I am the embodiment of my fulfilled desire. I am not seeking. I am expressing. And as you continue in this awareness, the feeling becomes stable. The old self fades, not by force, but by lack of attention. What you no longer identify with, you no longer animate. This is the art of embodiment, the practice of becoming. It is not static, it evolves. As you deepen your understanding, more is revealed. The identity of fulfillment expands. Your desires evolve. Your sense of self stretches into greater expression. And each new desire is not a gap. It is a call to step into more of yourself. You are not chasing dreams. You are exploring facets of your own divine nature. So, hold this truth. The outer world reflects who you are being. You do not need to fight it, fix it, or force it. You need only become. The rest follows. This is how you become the fulfilled self. Not through effort, but through alignment. Not through hoping, but through inhabiting. Not through chasing, but through choosing. You are not waiting to be worthy. You are not earning your desires. You are awakening to who you have always been. The operant power, the creator clothed in human form. Now live from that place. Stand tall in that truth, and let the world meet you there. There is a point beyond assumption, beyond imagining, where you no longer merely desire or believe, you become. This is the essence of conscious creation. It is not simply the claiming of desires. It is the full embodiment of the creative self, the realization that you are not only the vessel through which creation occurs, but the very force of creation itself. When we speak of imagination as God, we are not being poetic. We are declaring truth. Your imagination is the divine creative power clothed in your humanity. And as you awaken to this, the responsibility becomes clear: to live, moment by moment, as the operant power. In this state, you no longer measure your progress by external signs. You are no longer moved by appearances or triggered by delays. You walk as the fulfillment, knowing that the outer world is the trailing echo of inner movement. To live as the creator is to act from a deeper level of being. You no longer strive to attain. You express what is already true in your inner world. Your life becomes a seamless outflow of consciousness, and the boundaries between the imagined and the experienced dissolve. How does this look in everyday life? It means you do not hope for love, you express it. You do not chase wealth, you walk in the awareness of abundance. You do not seek validation, you embody wholeness. Every thought becomes intentional. Every word becomes an affirmation. Every moment becomes a mirror, showing you where your consciousness truly dwells. And here lies a profound truth. The world does not test your desires, it reflects your assumption. The outer world has no choice. It is law. As within, so without. So when you begin to live from the end, your environment must bow to the new self you have assumed. This is not about control in the egoic sense. This is divine alignment. You are no longer reacting to the world. You are instructing it, not through force, but through being. The creative self understands that every reaction is a decision to continue creating the same pattern. So you become still, intentional, deliberati. You recognize that even your silence speaks. Even your attention is creative power. You may find that your world begins to rearrange itself without your conscious interference. People shift, opportunities appear, paths open. This is the natural response to a changed inner identity. When you live as the creator, the universe becomes cooperative. The struggle ceases because you have ceased resisting your own power. It is important to understand that the creative self is not an ideal version of you. It is your truest self. The self that was never broken, never lost, never in lack. To live from this self is to remember who you have always been beneath the conditioning of limitation. The real journey is not toward a destination. It is inward, into the realization of self. You are not trying to become more. You are uncovering the all that already is within you. From this place, prayer transforms. It is no longer petition, but recognition. You do not ask, you acknowledge. You do not plead, you praise. For you are not trying to summon something outside yourself. You are activating what you already carry. So, how do we stabilize this state? Through discipline of thought, yes. But more importantly, through surrender to the truth. The truth that your assumptions are not idle thoughts. They are divine decree. Your thoughts are not private. They are creative act. Your inner conversations are not fantasy. They are blueprints of reality. To speak inwardly is to command. To feel inwardly is to create. Therefore, treat your inner world as sacred. Protect it. Curate it. Do not allow your imagination to wander into fear, doubt, or resentment. These are seeds that bear fruit. Choose instead to dwell in love, certainty, peace. This is the ongoing act of living as the creator. Not just when you're visualizing or affirming, but always. Especially when no one is watching. Especially when the old world tries to pull you back into forgetfulness. This is where many fall short, not because they lack power, but because they forget who they are. They return to being reactors, not creators. But every moment is a choice to remember. A choice to rise into authorship once again. To embody this truth is to be unmoved by delay. You understand that the delay is not denial. It is simply the time it takes for old reflections to fade. You are not bound by them. Let the old play itself out. Stay fixed in your new state. Let the world catch up. As you persist, the world must conform. This is not philosophy. It is law d'atelier. Just as gravity does not require belief to function, neither does the law of assumption. It works always. The only variable is your alignment. And when you fully align, when your thoughts, feelings, words, and actions all declare the same end, then manifestation is inevitable. It must come. It must reflect. At this stage, the line between desire and reality dissolve. You no longer wait for the future. You live it. You no longer ask, when will it come? You walk in the assumption, it is already here. This shift is subtle but radical. It changes your posture toward life. You are not seeking anymore. You are revealing. You are not waiting. You are being. So take this truth into your day. You are the creator. Your assumptions are creative power. Your feelings are sacred fuel. Your imagination is the workshop of God. Live as if what you desire is already yours. Speak as though it is so. Feel it with such clarity that the world has no choice but to obey. Do not wait for permission. Do not seek validation. Step into the truth now. Walk boldly. Think deliberately. Imagine fearlessly. And when the world reflects it back, and it will, you will recognize that it was never outside of you. It was always within, waiting to be known, claimed, and expressed. This is living as the creator. This is the art of fulfillment. This is the way of conscious manifestation. And so I leave you with this. Live the end. Be the wish fulfilled. Walk not as one who hopes, but as one who knows. For you are the operant power. You are the Word made flesh. You are the creator, now creating. It is done. There comes a moment in the journey of manifestation when striving must give way to stillness. After all the imagining, the assuming, and the feeling from the end, arrive at a state Neville called the Sabbath. But this Sabbath is not a day on the calendar. It is not merely a pause from labor. It is a spiritual posture, one of deep rest in the knowledge that your desire is already fulfilled. To enter the Sabbath is to release all effort. It is the final and most powerful act of faith. You do not look for signs. You do not ask, when will it happen? You rest in the knowing that it has already happened in the only place that matters. Your imagination, your inner reality. The Sabbath is not apathy or idleness. It is not denial. It is confidence. It is spiritual composure. In this state, you are no longer driven by a need to make things happen. You are now aligned with the truth that everything is unfolding perfect. You have sown the seed. You have impressed the subconscious. And now, like a farmer who trusts the seasons, you allow the harvest to come. This state of rest is essential, for it signals to your subconscious that you no longer desire, you have. It marks the end of the creative process. The desire has moved from potential to possession. In this state, you no longer vibrate with the frequency of wanting. You radiate fulfillment. To remain in the Sabbath is to refuse the temptation to intervene. You do not dig up the seed to see if it's growing. You do not question if the process is working. You do not plead with the universe. Instead, you say with inner calm, it is done. It is in this quiet confidence that the outer world begins to bend. Why? Because your inner state has changed. You are no longer longing. You are no longer waiting. You have become. This is the paradox of spiritual creation. The moment you no longer need the thing, because in consciousness it is already yours, that is the moment it begins to externalize. Need creates resistance. Fulfillment creates flow. Entering the Sabbath often follows a season of intense inner work. You have visualized, affirmed, and felt your way into the desired state. And now the time comes to let it be. Not to forget it, but to trust it. The Sabbath is the moment when your desire no longer feels separate from you. It is no longer something to be acquired. It simply is. Many people fall just short of this sacred rest. They return too quickly to doubt. They interrupt the process with fear, impatience, or compulsive action. But the Sabbath invites you to be still, to trust the divine intelligence within to bring all things into form. It is during this time that the bridge of incidents, those seemingly random events and encounters, begins to form. And because you are no longer striving, these incidents appear effortlessly. The right conversation, the unexpected opportunity, the chance encounter, all of it flows naturally from the state you have assumed. In the Sabbath, your identity is no longer that of the seeker, but of the one who has. Your conversations, your body language, your inner dialogue, they all express this subtle certainty. You don't say, "I hope it happens." You say, "It is already mine." The Sabbath state is one of sacred detachment. It is not indifferent. It is peaceful. You are emotionally steady. You do not ride the waves of circumstance because you have anchored yourself in truth. You are no longer reacting to the outer world. You are defining it. To maintain the Sabbath, cultivate gratitude. Gratitude is the emotion of fulfillment. When you are truly grateful, it is because you believe you have received. This state sends a clear signal to the subconscious. We are complete. Practicing the Sabbath is a discipline of trust. Trust in your imagination as the creative center of your world. Trust in your assumption as the seed of all manifestation. Trust that what you have claimed in consciousness must take shape in form. There may be moments when the outer world presents a contradiction. It may look like nothing is happening. But if you are in the Sabbath, this does not disturb you. You know that what you see is only a projection of past assumption. You are no longer investing in appearances. You are anchored in inner conviction. The Sabbath does not mean you take no action. It means your action flows from fulfillment, not toward it. You do not act to get. You act because you have. You are moved by inspiration, not desperation. This shift is subtle but powerful. When you live in the Sabbath, your actions are intuitive. They are right-timed. You find yourself in the right place without effort. You say the right thing without rehearsing. Everything flows because you are not pushing. You are allowing. Inner truth. The Sabbath is the culmination of all inner work. It is the reward. It is the place where all striving ceases and only knowing remains. It is the final act before the world reflects your inner assumption. Remain here. Trust here. Live here. Let the stillness speak louder than circumstance. Let your certainty rise above doubt, and let your life unfold from this center of calm power. For it is written, "Be still and know that I am God." In the stillness of the Sabbath, you recognize your creative identity. You cease asking and begin receiving. You cease hoping and begin knowing. So let it be finished. Let the desire be settled. Let your heart be light, your mind be clear, and your spirit be anchored. The Sabbath is not something to wait for. It is something to enter. And when you do, when you truly rest in the end, you will witness the world transform. Not because you forced it, but because you finally knew that it was already done. This is the state of the Sabbath. This is the power of fulfilled assumption. And this is where your miracles are born. Let us now journey inward, not with mere encouragement, but with revelation. This is not about distance or striving. It is about awareness. In this divine play we call life, you are not just a participant. You are the playwright and the actor, the dreamer and the dream. Everything you face, everything you hope for, it is all unfolding from you, not happening to you. When I say, please, keep going, you're so close, I do not speak in terms of miles or milestones. I am speaking of states of consciousness, of being. The destination you long for is not out there. It is already within. And you are so near, closer than breath, to realizing it. You may believe your desires come from nowhere, or perhaps they are fleeting whims. They are not. Every true desire arises from your own higher self. They are divine impressions, not idle fancies. Within the desire is the blueprint of its own fulfillment. When you imagine, when you feel, what it would be like to have what you want, you are not pretending. You are touching the truth. In imagination, you are already living the end. And imagination is the only place your desire has ever truly existed. So why, you may ask, does it feel so far away? Why does the physical world seem to lag behind? Because we have been trained to see reality as a slow procession, governed by time and effort. But that is illusion. What you call the outer world is simply a reflection, a shadow cast by the light of your inner assumptions. I urge you, persist, not by striving but by dwelling. Remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. Stay faithful to the end you've imagined. The bridge of incidents, those seemingly random events that led to your manifestation, are not constructed by your conscious mind. They are arranged perfectly by your subconscious, which is God in action. Your role is not to manipulate the world. It is to assume, to feel, to live as if what you want is already yours. In doing this, you ignite a power that moves the entire universe to support your conviction. Let us consider closeness. In the physical realm, closeness is measured by steps and seconds. But in consciousness, there is no distance. The moment you truly assume you are it, you do not move toward it. You move from it. And each moment you persist in that assumption, the physical must yield to reflect it. The material world is second. It is a mirror. Your assumptions are the original cause, the proof. And if you persist, that proof becomes visible. You may feel tempted to doubt, to look at the world and say, but it's not here yet. But that is only the echo of past thought. Right now, you are planting new seeds. And like a woman carrying a child, though the child is unseen, she knows it is there. Hold fast during the silence. That silence is sacred. It is the incubation of your desire. Do not let appearances deceive you. When you flip a light switch, the room may still appear dark for a moment, but the light is on. Trust that your assumption has turned it on. Wait, not in passivity, but in faith. Each night and morning, practice what I call living in the end. Imagine a vivid scene that implies your desire fulfilled. Feel it fully. Smell it, hear it, live it. Carry that feeling with you through the day. Your subconscious cannot distinguish between real and vividly imagined experience. It accepts what you feel as truth. Let it feel the joy, the satisfaction, the relief of your fulfilled desire. And should you wonder, how long must I keep going? The answer is, as long as it takes. Because time is but a construct. The real act is assumption, and it is immediate. The seed is already planted. Do not dig it up. And if you must act, act naturally from the state of already being. Do not chase. Do not strive. Act as if, because it is already so. Please, I implore you, keep going. Not because you are far, but because you are so close. The walls between you and your desire are only assumption. Drop them, and you will see they were never there. And if the past weighs you down, revise it. Memory is imagination applied to what has been. Reimagine your yesterdays in alignment with your chosen reality. Plant new seeds even in memory. Prayer is not begging. It is claiming. It is assuming that the wish is already fulfilled. Let your prayer be the feeling of fulfillment, not the hope of it. The power lies in your assumption, in the feeling that it is done. And from that feeling, let the world conform. Not the other way around. Keep going. You are so close, closer than you can possibly imagine. The kingdom of heaven is within you. Now step into it. Live from it. Be it. And it shall be done. Now, let us descend into the holy silence of understanding, for this message is not mere encouragement. It is revelation. Please keep going, you're so close. Is not about distance in space or time. It is the whisper of truth from the depths of your being, calling you to awaken. In this grand dream of life, in the theater of the senses, you are not only the actor. You are the playwright, the stage, and the spotlight itself. You are both creation and creator. Your longings, your struggles, your visions, all are the movements of a divine play authored by you before time was. When I urge you, keep going, I'm not beckoning you to walk farther in the physical world. No, I am calling you inward, upward, deeper. I am speaking of a transformation in consciousness, a movement not through space but in awareness. You are near, so very near, to the fulfillment of your every desire. For what are your desires but divine signals? Not whim, but sacred clues to your potential. These longings are not given to torment you. They are messages from your higher self, revealing what already is in another dimension. When you feel desire burning within, do not dismiss it. Realize it is done. In imagination, you are already living it. Why then does the outer world seem to delay? Why the silence between desire and its reflection? Because we have mistaken the dream for reality. We believe in time, in linearity, in cause and effect. But this is illusion. Your world is not happening to you. It is unfolding from you. Every event, every encounter is the outpicturing of your dominant state of consciousness. So, I say again, keep going. Persist. But not in effort or striving. Persist in the assumption that what you have imagined is already true. Stay loyal to your ideal. Dwell in the end. The bridge of incidents that will carry you from this present to your desired state is not your construction. It is orchestrated by the infinite intelligence that you are one with. Some call it God. I call it your wonderful human imagination. This power knows all ways and means. You need not force. You need only assume. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Feel the joy, the relief, the knowing that it is already yours. Do not ask how. Do not watch for signs. Simply live as though it is done. And in this assumption, you sow the seeds. And the harvest is inevitable. Understand this. In imagination, you are never apart from your desire. There is no distance in the world of consciousness. The very presence of your longing proves its existence. You could not desire it were it not already yours in a parallel dimension. So, you are not journeying toward your dream. You are journeying from it. It is the place from which you move, not the destination you seek. The more faithfully you dwell in this state, the more the world must conform. For the outer is ever the shadow of the inner. Do not be deceived by what you see. Your senses show only what was assumed. When you perceive lack or contradiction, remember, that is yesterday's belief expressing itself today. Right now you can sow something new. Feel the reality of your ideal. Know that your wish is fulfilled. Let that feeling inform your speech, your actions, your posture, your choices, and persist. Recall the Israelites, so close to the promised land, yet wandering for years, not because of the land's absence, but because of their assumptions. They could not see themselves in the land, and so they remained outside. The moment they assumed possession, the walls fell, and they entered. You are the same. Your promised land is a state of consciousness, a state you may enter at any moment. One assumption away, one choice to believe. So when I say, keep going, I mean, remain faithful. Not to what you see, but to what you know in imagination. Do not seek evidence. Be the evidence. Live from the end. Morning and night, imagine scenes that imply your wish fulfilled. Feel their texture. Hear the sounds. Smell the air. Dwell in it until it becomes more real than your so-called reality. And when doubt whispers, when delay tempts you to give up, remember, you are in the gestation. The seed is planted. Trust the process. Just as a woman does not doubt the life growing in her womb, you must not doubt the life growing in your subconscious. The light is already switched on. Just wait for your eyes to adjust. Live in the end. And when worry arises, revive. Do not accept the past. Change it. In your imagination, make all things right. Heal what was broken. Rewrite what went wrong. For imagination can reach back and forward. It knows no bounds. You may say, but Neville, how long must I persist? And I say, as long as it takes. The moment of full assumption is the moment of creation. From that point, time is irrelevant. Stop digging up your seed. Stop watching the clock. It is already done. The only thing between you and your desire is your belief in separation. Drop it. Onion. Assume unity. No, it is yours. Claim it. Even Jesus withdrew into solitude. Even he was misunderstood. Even he prayed alone. So when you feel isolated, know that it is the mark of those who carry the spark. Your imagination is the workshop of creation. Use it wisely. Use it lovingly. Use it with persistence. Every time you assume, you shape reality. Every feeling you dwell in becomes flesh. So stay. Remain. Be unmoved. For you are so close. Closer than your breath. Closer than you can conceive. The kingdom of heaven is within. Within your own wonderful human imagination. There is no distance. No delay. No other power. You are the operant power. So I say one last time, please keep going. Not with striving, but with faith. Keep assuming. Keep believing. Keep living from the end. For you are not becoming. You already are. The Creator, the creation, and the act of creation itself. And it is finished. It